Hello and welcome. My name is Lanita. I'm the Scrappy Grandma, and I I do homesteading videos, and I read the Bible on YouTube. So this is actually my books of the Bible, and this is the book of Exodus. So we are starting today in the 11th chapter. We're going to go through 11 through 15 today. And so I started reading in Genesis, and this is as far as we are. I also do the Torah portions, which is a weekly Bible study. So if that's something you're interested, you can look. I also do, it's called the Story Seat, where I interview women worth hearing, which is all of us women. So anyway, let's start with prayer. Father, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to freely read your word and to feast on it day in and day out. And thank you for answering my prayer and giving me a hunger and a thirst, a passion for your word and sharing your word with others, because it is life. Your word is a light to our path, and it is life to our bones. And so bless everyone that hears this. Send it out to whoever it is you want to hear it. And let this be a blessing. Let nothing of mine come out of this. Only what you want me to share, Father. This is all about you, all about bringing you glory and sharing the love of your word with others. We thank you in Yahushua's name. Amen. All right, so we're going to start in, and so I need to first share my screen. I'm going to share that and move me over here. Make me smaller. There we go. Share screen. And hopefully that works. So here we go. All right. Exodus 11:1. And Yah said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor and every woman from her neighbor objects of silver and objects of gold. It's interesting. You think, and y'all put it on their heart to just load them down with stuff to get rid of them. And this is what was used to building the tabernacle. And Yah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrayites, and the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. And Moshe said, thus said Yah, about midnight I am going out into the midst of Mitzrayim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on the throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who's behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, such as never been, nor never shall be again. But against any of the children of Israel, no dog shall move its tongue against man or against beast, so that you know that Yah makes distinction between Mitzrayim and Israel. And all of these servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, get out, you and all your people at your feet, and after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Yah said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yah strengthened Pharaoh's strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let his children of Israel go out of his land. I've always wondered about that. It's like, well, why? It's kind of like Yah set him up for failure. But this is, basically Yah just let him, do what he basically let him make decisions. He hardened his heart. It's hard for me to grasp that, because it seems like he's setting him up for failure, but it wasn't. He was just allowing, he set it up to where the Israelites would leave with great treasure and be sent out. It was like, get out of here. We don't want any more to happen. So anyway, And Yah spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, the new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. And boy, that is one thing I started my recording, and every month I'll add to it about the new moon, learning about observing and celebrating the new moon, which is the beginning of the Hebrew month, has been really beautiful because each month has a theme, and there's just such depths of learning in it. So, and it's always exactly what you're going through in life, which is just really, it's just so Yah. It's just so like the Father. So this new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the years for you. So it's like the very first day of the month, first day of the year. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, on the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take himself a lamb according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. So they have the new moon, 10 days later, they go out and they pick a choice lamb, the one without spot or blemish, the perfect lamb that's going to be their Passover lamb. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to him take it according to the number of the beings. According to each man's needs, you make your count for the lamb. So just make sure it's not going to go to waste, because they're going to be cooking it, eating it, and leaving. So let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats. If you shall keep, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon. So they go and pick it on the 10th, and then they keep it, separated and off to itself. And, I don't know if they keep it in the house or what, but they keep this lamb and for 4 more days before they're going to sacrifice it. So you keep until the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between evenings. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boil it with water, but roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. That just grosses me out, that it's like cooked with its intestines and stuff, gross, and its innards in it. Do not leave it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. So basically, eat as much as you can, get fortified, because we're going on a journey, and the rest burn up. Burn it with fire. There we go. And this is how you're to eat it: with your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You shall eat in haste. It is the Pesach. It is the Passover. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn of the land of Mitzrayim, both male and beast, and all the mighty ones of Mitzrayim. I shall execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when you see the blood, I shall pass over, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance. Oh, man, he's really been putting it on my heart about setting up remembrances so that you're constantly thinking about him. Everything brings your thoughts back to him, everything. And, there's just beautiful remembrances and honoring remembrances and terrifying remembrances. And remember when, they did this or they did that, and then this happened or that happened, and then they did this or that, and this happened and that happened, good and bad. Remembrances are really important to us. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yah throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. Man, it's such a beautiful celebration. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your house. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off. They're a disobedient, rebellious person, and they have not agreed to walk in covenant. On the first day of the set apart gathering, and on the 7th day, you are to have a set apart gathering. No work at all is to be done on them. Only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. So you're allowed to cook. And you shall guard the festival of matzot, unleavened bread, for on the same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mitzrayim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. In the first month of the 14th day, on the 14th day of the new moon in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. For 7 days, no leaven is to be found in your houses, for if anyone eats what is leavened, the same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, who, whether sojourner or native in the land. So there's people that live with them that are not native, blood-born Hebrews, and they are still accepted, the sojourners. Do not, and they're supposed to be treated the same. Do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings, you are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, go out and take lambs for yourself according to your clans and slay the Pesach. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin and strike the lintel and the two doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning. And Yah shall pass on to smite the Mitzrayites, the Egyptians, and shall see the blood on the lintel of the two doorposts, and Yah shall pass over the door and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall guard this word as a law forever for you and your sons forever. And it shall be when you come to the land in which Yah gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be when your children say to you, what does this service mean to you? See, they're supposed to guard it and teach it to their children. Their teacher ask, and they're to say, then you shall say, it is the Pesach slaughtering of Yah, who passed over the house of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrayites and delivered our households. The people bowed their heads and did us. Yes, they agreed. And the children of Israel went away and did so. As Yah had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And then the 10th plague happens. And it came to be at midnight that Yah struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn to Pharaoh who sat on the throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, all the firstborn and all the livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, and he and his servants and all the Mitzrayites, and there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. And he called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, arise and go out from the midst of my people, both you and your children of Israel. Go serve Yah as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. The Exodus. And the Mitzrayites were strong on the people to hasten to send them out of Israel, for they said, we are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe. And they had asked for the Mitzrayites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments. And Yah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrayites. So they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrayites. This is brilliant. And the children of Israel went out from Ramses to Sukkoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones. When they came into Egypt, there were only 70 of them. So they went from 70, and now there's 600,000, just men, and not to mention the women and the children under 20. And a mixed multitude went up with them too. People, Egyptians went with them, Ethiopians, all the different nations. There weren't just Israel. Can you imagine, you're there and all of a sudden all the firstborn are dead, and they're like, okay, your God's pretty incredible. I think we need to go with you instead of stay here where all this, we're going to be burying all the dead. So the mixed multitude went up with them too, also flocks and herds and very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of dough, which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim, had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourners of the children of Israel I'm sorry, and the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mitzrayim was 430 years. And it came to be at the end of 430 years, on the same day it came to be, that all the divisions of Yah went out from the land of Mitzrayim. So I had just said in one of my last videos, it was like 200 to 400 years. So 430 years. And the sojourns who lived in Mitzrayim was, so from the time they moved into Egypt, Jacob and the 12 brothers, been 430 years. It is a night of watches unto Yah for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is the night of watches unto Yah for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. So this is a night to watch. Night of watches unto Yah. Institution of Passover. And Yah said to Moshe and Aaron, this is the law of Pesach. No son of a stranger is to eat it. You have to be circumcised Hebrew. But any servant of a man has a servant that a man has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, let him then eat of it. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside of the house, or nor break any of the bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a stranger sojourns with you and shall perform the Pesach to Yah, let all the males be circumcised, and let them come near and perform it. And he shall be as a native of the land, but let no uncircumcised eat of it. You know, it's not required for to be grafted in. It's not required to be circumcised, but in order to eat the Passover lamb, it is required to be circumcised. This is one Torah for the native. There is one Torah for the native born and from the stranger who sojourns among you. The same laws apply across the board, whether you're native born and you have, Hebrew DNA, or you've been grafted in and you choose to walk in covenant with the Most High. So there's one Torah for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns among you. And all the children of Israel did as Yah commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be on the same day that Yah brought the children out of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim according to their divisions. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, set apart to me all the firstborn, the ones opening the womb among the children of Israel, among men and among beasts, it is mine. So basically, all of the firstborn men, the firstborn males of the Egyptians all were killed. And the firstborn of all of the Hebrews now are being set apart, consecrated to Yahweh, the Most High. And they were originally supposed to be the priests of each home. The firstborn would be the priest of each family. So Rusty's the firstborn. And so he would be the priest for this whole family. And I think, they got it once the Levites became the priests, I think they have like an age limit, and then the next, their son, their firstborn would be. So originally, all the firstborns are supposed to be the priests of the family. And Moshe said to the people, remember this day in which you went out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery, for by strength of hand, Yah brought you out of this place, and whatever is leavened shall not be eaten. Today you are going out in the new moon, Abib, and it shall be when Yah brings you into the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in the new moon. 7 days you'll eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day is a festival to Yah. So there's Passover, then there's 7 days of unleavened bread, and then there's the last day of Passover festival. And you shall inform your sons in that day, saying, it is because of what Yah did for me when I came up out of Mitzrayim. And it shall be as a sign to you on your hand, the things that you do, and as a reminder between your eyes, the things that you think, that the Torah, the instructions of Yahweh, of the Most High God, is to be in your mouth, for with a strong hand Yah has brought you out of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard this law at its appointed time from year to year. And it shall be when Yah brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall give over to Yah everyone opening the womb and every firstborn that comes from your livestock, the males, to belong to Yah. But every firstborn of a donkey you are to ransom with a lamb, and if you do not ransom it, then you shall break its neck, and every firstborn of man among your sons you are to ransom. And it shall be when your son asks you in time to come, saying, what is this? Then you shall say to him, by strength of hand, Yah brought us out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. And it came to be when Pharaoh was too hardened to let us go, that Yah killed every firstborn of the land of Mitzrayim, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore, I am slaughtering to Yah every male that opens the womb, but every firstborn of my sons I ransom. So probably ransom with a goat. They're not killing the firstborn. They're going to, ransom them. And it shall be as a sign on your hand and frontlets between your eyes, for by strength of hand Yah brought us out of Mitzrayim, of Egypt, pillars and cloud of fire. And it came to be when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, though that was nearer. For Elohim said, lest the people regret when they see fighting and return to Mitzrayim, because he knew that if he took them that way, they'd have to be at war right away, and that would freak them out. So Elohim led the people around by the way of the wilderness and the sea of reeds, and the children of Israel went up in fives from the land of Mitzrayim. It's a marching formation. And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he certainly made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring my bones from here with you. I didn't realize, and that was a couple months ago, I'm like, they literally carried Joseph's bones. Oops, there we go. They carried Joseph's bones with them for 40 years until they went into the land. So, and they departed from Succoth and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And Yah went before them by day in a column, and by cloud to lead the way, and by night in a column of fire to give them light, so that as to go by day and night. And how cool is it? So night, they have a fire, one that's going to keep them warm out in the desert nights because it's cold. And it's, lead and direct and guide them. And then during the day, a cloud to protect them from the summer heat. The desert heat also. So I found that was really fascinating. He's so smart and thinks of everything. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel that they turn and camp before Piharath, between Migdol and the sea opposite of Baal Teshpon, camp before it by the sea. And Pharaoh shall say of the children of Israel, they're entangled in the land, and the wilderness has closed them in. And I shall strengthen the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them. But I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over his army. And the Mitzrayites shall know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. And it was reported to the sovereign of Mitzrayim that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants had turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we let Israel go from serving us? So he made his chariot ready and took his people with him. And he took 600 choice chariots and all the chariots of Mitzrayim, with officers over all of them. And Yah strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he pursued the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out defiantly. And the Mitzrayites pursued them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them, camping by the sea, besides Pith-Harath, before Baal Teshpon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes and saw the Mitzrayites coming up after them, and they were greatly afraid. So the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh, and they said to Moshe, did you take us away to die in the wilderness because there was no burial sites in Mitzrayim? What is this you have done to us to bring us out of Mitzrayim? And is this not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, leave us alone and let us serve the Mitzrayites, for it would have been better for us to serve the Mitzrayites, the Egyptians, than to die in the wilderness. And Moshe said to the people, do not be afraid, stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh. Man, if we can do this, I mean, this is so practical for our lives. If we can just get the right mindset. And when we are faced with really difficult, uncomfortable situations, if we can go, he's never failed me yet. He's not going to fail me now. I don't need to worry about this. I don't need to get stressed out about it. I just need to stand and watch and see what he does. It's so cool when we can do this because, I mean, just, and he does really cool things, things you never even think about. So, it's something to practice. That's what we've been practicing, watching his fingers move in all of our situations. Instead of trying to force what we want or what we think is right, we wait and watch him deliver us. And it's been, what an awesome opportunity. What an awesome journey. So Moshe said to the people, do not be afraid, stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrayims, whom you see today, you are never, never to see again. Yah does fight for you, and you keep silent. And Yah said to Moshe, why do you cry to me? Speak to the children of Israel and let them go forward. And you lift up your rod and you stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and let the children of Israel go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I am strengthening the heart of the Mitzrayites, and they shall follow them, and I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army and his chariots and his horsemen. And the Mitzrayites shall know that I am Yahweh when I am esteemed through Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen. And the messenger of Elohim went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the column of cloud went from before them and stood behind them as their rear guard, their protection. Ah, man, so many times I've felt him doing that for me. And came between the camp of the Mitzrayites and the camp of Israel, and it was the cloud and the darkness, and it gave light by night, and one did not come near the other one at the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yah caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into a dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Mitzrayites pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to be in the morning watch that Yah looked down upon the army of the Mitzrayites through the column of fire and cloud. And he brought the army of the Mitzrayites into confusion, and he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Mitzrayites said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yah fights for them against the Mitzrayites. Then Yah said to Moshe, stretch out your hand over the sea and let the waters come back upon the Mitzrayites and their chariots and their horsemen. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea turned to its usual flow at the break of day, with the Mitzrayites fleeing into it. Thus Yah overthrew the Mitzrayites in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the army of the Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, and not even one was left of them. And the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on to their left. Thus Yah saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Mitzrayites, and Israel saw the Mitzrayites dead on the seashore, and Israel saw the great work which Yah had done in Mitzrayim, and the people feared Yah and believed Yah and his servant Moshe. I mean, can you imagine watching that? Then Moshe said to the children of Israel, and then Moshe and the children of Israel sang this song to Yahweh, and spoke, saying, I sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted, and the horse and the rider he is thrown into the sea. Yea, Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Footnote C, Psalms 118 and Isaiah 12:2. And Yah is a man of battle. Yahweh is his name. Yahweh is a man of battle. Yahweh is his name. He is a warrior. And he cast Pharaoh's chariots and his armies into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, and they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahweh, is become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahweh, Olam. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has crushed the enemy. And what we, when they speak of his right hand, they're actually speaking of Yeshua, Jesus, the Messiah. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You set forth your wrath, and it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the water were heaped up. The floods stood like a wall. The depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil. My being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword. My hand destroys them. You did blow with your wind. The sea covered them, and they sank. And they sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahweh, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in set apartness, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. In your loving commitment, you led the people whom you have redeemed in your strength. You guided them to your set apart dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled, anguished gripped the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled. The mighty men of Moab, trembling, gripped them. All the inhabitants of the Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell on them. By the greatness of your arm, they are silent as a stone until your people pass over. Yavaha, until the people whom you have brought pass over. And that's what Hebrew means. Pass over. Passed over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountains of your inheritance. Oh, the place, oh Yahweh, which you have made for your dwelling, the set apart place, oh Yahweh, which your hands have prepared. Yahweh reigns forever and ever. For horse of Pharaoh went with his chariot and his horsemen into the sea, and Yahweh brought back the waters of the sea upon them, and the children of Israel went on dry ground in the midst of the sea. And Mitzrayim, and Miriam and the prophetess, Moses and Aaron's sister, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dance. And Miriam answered them, sing to Yahweh, for he has highly exalted. The horse and the rider have been thrown into the sea. And Moshe brought Israel from the Sea of Reeds, and they went to the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And they came to Marah, and they were unable to drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. So the name of it was called Marah. And the people grumbled against Moshe, saying, what are we to drink? Then he cried out to Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree. And when he threw it into the waters were made sweet. And he made a law and a right ruling for them, and there he tried them. And he said, if you diligently obey my voice, here's an if and when, or if and then, if you diligently obey the voice of Yah, your Elohim, and do what is right in his eyes, and shall listen to his commands, and shall guard all of his laws, his Torah, his instructions, I shall bring on you none of these diseases I brought on Mitzrayim, for I am Yahweh who heals you. And they came to Elim, where there were 25 fountains of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters. So that is it for this week. I'll go ahead and get this up, and then I'll see you again next week. Or if you're following along and reading the Torah portions with us, see you over there. So be blessed and have a fabulous week.